Ladies and gentlemen, this is your podcast main event of the evening. Live from London, England, we are here joined by James and Matt and myself, BigMo. This is the BoredMan Podcast!
Yeah!
Oh man!
Fucking hell.
I don't normally get like shy or
One take.
You made me like
Yeah,
I was just like gone red. That's so cool. That's a different announcement now.
Oh wow, that's good, great energy. You know, that's just a vocal thing, and it sounds fucking great.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's
It's
so
cool
cool.
how something's so simple. Like my job when I do it, I'm a glorified public speaker, and my job in and of itself is, I've told people like this before. If you were just to list out the tasks of my job and just put it on paper, it would be fairly simple. Like introduce fighters, engage crowd, announce winner, blah, 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 blah. It'd be a few things. But what I've always said is that to do it well, that's where the difficulty comes into play. Yeah, just the sundry tasks, the list isn't all that long, but it's doing them well and knowing how to do it, I think, is what separates energetic people and charismatic
Well,
people.
it's not just that. You know, there's like you said, there's the basic things to do, and the reason why I'm so excited about you, man, is because you go that extra layer further. And you know, I've been in experiences as well where you need to. You know, there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of competition. You need to go that extra mile. You know, the things you wear, the way you dress, the energy, the youthfulness. We just talked about social media and how you're capitalizing on that. Like it's so good to add those like additional like resources as well. Like, you look crisp every time.
Thank you.
It's weird to see you in normal outfit because you know you've got all these tuxedos and looking like crisp, clean. It's great, man.
I think, you know, a lot of times when you, and I've talked about this before, but most ring announcers, you only think about the voice, which for sure, obviously the voice is a huge component of it. But the visual aspect is also very important. If I'm trying to be this engaging speaker and engage an audience and have them be involved in what I'm doing and have them enjoy and be a part of the show, well then kind of establishing authority is really important. Mm-hmm. And the visual component of that is important. The reality is that, even though the ring announcer's a voice, the ring announcer's also the most consistent person on camera throughout a broadcast. Yeah. This is kind of where it clicked in my mind, you know, right kind of when I got started with my career, was the commentators are off camera, the fighters alternate. I'm speaking in generalities. The commentators are off camera, the fighters do their fights and then pretty much rotate out. Referees rotate out. So when you look at a broadcast throughout the duration of it, the most consistent person visually is the ring announcer. So for that reason, well, you're damn right I'm going to be dressed as well as I can. No shit, you know.
You've also got to control the crowd, you know. I've realized that as well. You've got to know when to hype the crowd up.
Yes.
To prepare them for another fight and this. I went to Tyson Fury's fight last time, and you know they spend a good like 3, 4, 5 minutes now building the crowd up with the music and the ring announce, all this kind of stuff, and it's actually you know, it's a lot more complicated and thought than just getting in the ring and saying hello everyone, welcome to the fight, blah blah blah. It's you know, and the fact that you have that energy all through the night is really great, because it's kind of like, you know, you're like the future. You know, you're the future. It's like, right, this is where it's going, and it's you know, you've got if you compare it to someone like Michael Buffett or someone huge, like, you know, it's big shoes to fill.
Of course.
And he's super, you know, he's built his own brand, but obviously of a completely different generation. So it's really exciting what you're doing.
Well, when I came here, I mean, so I built up a following pretty quickly in America. People called me the next Buffer, which is an amazing compliment.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the next Buffer. I want to be me. I want to be Big Mo. I want to be my own brand, things like that. So when I had eventually connected with Boxer and Sky, I was like, all right, it's international audience, it's boxing. At the time, I was doing more MMA, more bare knuckle. I still do bare knuckle in the States. But I have a more energetic style than what is traditionally seen from a lot of announcers, for the most part. Some of them have an energetic style, but for the most part, most are pretty dialed, pretty, you know, little dry, I guess, for lack of a better word. But I was like, I really think that the British fans can enjoy this more energetic style. I've seen them before. They sing, they dance, they cheer. There's nothing like the atmosphere that British fans bring.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I knew that if I can get them involved, and it may take a show or two for them to kind of get comfortable with it, but I knew if I could get it to that point, it would be an amazing, amazing atmosphere. And I've proved it now. I think I've done 5 shows. Smith Eubank will be my 6th or 7th. I can't remember. It's going to be my first pay-per-view in Manchester. And I just know that at this point I've proven that energetic style, that really captivating audience can deliver a great show.
Yeah.
So
That's so good. I mean, he's doing Eubank this weekend. That's
I know,
crazy.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's really interesting because just just your voice, obviously, have you trained that? Because I remember hearing, like, in England, you said you got the train earlier on, there's a voice that comes on the train and it says, mind the gap,
Yeah.
And they I remember there was a really funny joke that if that voice was much higher pitched, nobody would listen.
Well,
mind
mind
the gap. You're going to be, oh, fuck off. But if it's like, mind the gap, you sort of like, people listen and they take note because it's from the diaphragm and you're delivering it. So have you had any training to get your voice to deliver that way?
So not formally. I've self-trained a lot of stuff in terms of kind of finding my voice. In the beginning, I was very throaty, and I would oftentimes burn out in shows, and I would lose my voice. I'm like, I can't keep doing this.
Wow.
Like what was good about my career is there was a portion where I was incredibly active and a lot of people weren't. I actually worked throughout the entire pandemic. The state of Wyoming had very lax rules with it, so we did outdoor shows.
Same.
So, yeah.
I made a film during it. I think it was people's decision to go, right, we're going to follow what everyone's saying and lock up, or there was another small group of people like, no, fuck this. I'm going to keep working, or I'm going to find a way.
And I'm not the government of Wyoming. I don't make those calls, but I will be the beneficiary of a state that wants to stay open. And so we did.
So they stayed open?
They did. And over the course of
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that either.
2021, I did probably, I don't know, between local boxing and regional boxing and local MMA and regional MMA, I probably did 15 shows while most people were doing none.
Right.
And so it was that moment where I was like, okay, I can go into this and just say, it's the pandemic, whatever. I work in live entertainment. We'll reevaluate when it's over. Or this is the time to try things. This is the time to have a small focus group, because we'd have an audience of a couple hundred people. Let me try some different stuff. Let me see if they like it. Let me see if they don't. And that's how I was able to kind of do a test run. That's really, in my opinion, where I kind of found my voice. So with the diaphragm, I studied speakers. I studied singers to figure out how to throw my voice type of thing.
Yeah.
I actually went and got my vocal cords mapped by a doctor.
Wow.
They shoved a camera down my throat because I did this recently, but my mindset was if I'm going to do a career out of this, I want to make sure I'm doing everything correctly. I want to make sure I'm taking care of it right. And they actually said that most vocal cords close flush like this. Mine actually overlap. And so that's how I'm able to kind of actually get a growl in my throat when I announce a little bit and still be able to project, is because I'm able to take the air and almost turn it throughout my esophagus. Right. I think that came from, and I figured that out.
That's crazy.
When I was young. I played the saxophone when I was young. I was in the band. And I figured out how to growl on a saxophone at a really young age. So I think that's where I almost subconsciously figured out how to do that with.
Does that make you go on longer as well? That's how you can go on like.
I have big lung capacity, and I was an athlete, and I'm sure that plays a role into it. But what's interesting is you guys would never think that this comes into play.
No.
And that's what's so fun about the job that I've been having, and that's why I'm so into it, is I want to kind of take this job and see how big I can grow this damn thing. Because I don't think anyone's ever sat there and thought about the intricacies of being an MC or being an announcer. They always just kind of thought it's just some goofy guy up there that wears a tuxedo and then gets off and it's over.
I love that so much.
What is the dream? What's the big plan? What's the end game, if there is one?
Well, I want to stay working in entertainment. I want to see where I can take my career possibly beyond announcing. My ultimate dream goal in life is I want to host the Tonight Show.
Okay, the Jimmy Fallon one.
Yeah,
okay.
I want to host that one day. I think that'd be fun, but obviously that's a little different than announcing. But from announcing, my goal since I started is I wanted to grow combat sports as big as it could be. And for me, I've never understood why combat sports sometimes struggled to get to the 18 to 35 age demographic.
Yeah.
It's a very tough age demographic.
What, mixed martial or all combat sports?
All combat sports.
Okay.
Last time I checked, the average age of a combat sports consumer is about 50.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that because of the legacy, you know, the Tysons and there was so much, I don't know, there seemed to be so much bravado back then around the boxers compared to what there is now. Like, I know Tyson Fury is unbelievable. Matt's friends with Tyson Fury. I mean, he's unreal. And Usyk, you know, they're really good boxers. But outside of him, there's not, the fights aren't as exciting as they used to be, you know.
Well, I think for me, in my opinion, why sometimes maybe the younger demo didn't get into it is, one, I don't think they were marketed it that heavily, and I'm not sure they always did things to attract a younger demographic
They didn't,
of people.
exactly not.
You know, I watch, I'll give an example. Every year, the NFL does a game on Nickelodeon.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Right? Why do they do that? Well, they do that to get 8-year-olds watching football.
Yeah.
And they have SpongeBob and Slime, and they have all this stuff that relates to them. Obviously, I'm not saying that 8-year-olds should be watching fighting. But the point is, I feel like we need to go in different routes to attract that younger demo, because I don't understand why they don't watch it. How is it that fighting is not the number one sport amongst college kids and fraternities?
Yeah.
We have violence and drinking and fireworks and entrances and sometimes ring girls, and we have all the things that appeal.
Personalities.
All the things that appeal to that age demo, but for some reason, they've never gotten that into it. So I'm sitting here going, okay, well, I'm right in the middle of that age demographic. I know exactly what they want. Maybe having a younger person, maybe having a younger, I'm going to use the word face just because of the visual side of things, maybe having someone younger do that job, it might help.
Yeah,
this is why it's so
definitely,
exciting,
that will
I
help.
think.
Sorry, Matt.
This is why it's so exciting, and the right timing with the YouTube stuff and everything.
Yeah.
Now it's being merged into that.
But do you also think, like, it's kind of, I feel like, look, Tyson Fury is amazing. We can't speak highly enough of him, right? But he's like, you know, if you were to picture him as this sort of really overweight guy or whatever, it's kind of hard to have ones that are good to look up to. I think kids need to look up to some of them. Now, he does spread a really good message, Tyson Fury. But I think when I was younger, you could really look up to them, whether they were like, you know, walking through Harrods shopping. I know it's quite materialistic, or, you know, driving tanks and cars. They were like, you know, Chris Eubank used to do that. Oh, I think it was Nigel Benn or Chris used to drive these. They were kind of, and they were really big up the fight. I don't feel there's that much individual relationship to the fighters as much now.
I would agree. I think, and that's always separated superstars with personality.
Yeah.
You know, Conor McGregor. Don't get me wrong, I love Conor McGregor the fighter, but I was always amazed by Conor McGregor the personality more than anything else, right? So,
and when you look at it, they only come along once in a lifetime.
Exactly.
You can only have a Conor McGregor, a Mike Tyson, a Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor is
very special the way he is, the way he speaks.
Yeah.
But UFC, I think, it's like the Formula One. It was not very big in the US. It's sort of getting bigger in the US. UFC, I think, is just getting bigger. I think it's like a funnel. And I do think it will reach lots and lots more people eventually.
Yes, and I think, and what's interesting is, and this is why I love working with Boxer on Sky. They know that. And Boxer very much pays attention to things that the UFC does. From a production standpoint, the UFC is amazing, and there's a lot of things that people can pull from that. Number one is content, marketing. UFC kills it in that respect. Putting on consistent, deep cards with a lot of talent on it. There's a lot of things that boxing can look at MMA. Because for so long, it was almost like it was either boxing or it was MMA, and they just very much kept their distance.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a minute. There's some overlap of fans there.
Yeah.
You can get inspiration from someone even if it's not in your totally exact industry that they might be doing well. The UFC did that with the WWE.
Yeah.
The UFC, Dana White and Vince McMahon had a relationship, and I guarantee you Dana White looked at some of the stuff the WWE was doing with production, which they're top tier in doing, and I bet you he went and he goes, it's actually a pretty good idea. We can do that with things, whether or not it's in the same industry or not.
The WWE is smashing it. I was looking at their stocks recently. They've gone up like 18% in the last year.
Yeah.
Now, that is probably hands down. I don't know this for sure, but I'm going to make a point. That's hands down due to marketing and content. Because
100%.
They've got a PG era now. Like, you know, when we used to watch wrestling in the Attitude Era, that's where the excitement was, and that's where it was you know, really, really exciting. So the sort of structure of their audience has changed, but their content is crazy. It was one of the main things, anyone watching out there, it was one of the main things to invest in right now, WWE, because it's just flying up. They're breaking every record, and they're, like I said, you link that to UFC and boxing, they're taking lots of crossovers, and there's more. I think there's a massive crossover between UFC and boxing. I think they're very different.
Yes, because
I've done a bit of boxing myself, and when UFC fighters try to get in with boxers, they think it's fighting, and it's not. No. It's completely different.
Very different.
And I prefer boxing, but there is a crossover to it. It's fascinating. I think you're doing everything at the right time, and I think it makes total sense. And I think those like personalities that are younger are going to start coming through in different ways. You look at KSI and Jake Paul and all these different things.
Well, I think the production. So, how I got into this really quickly was I was part of a tight knit friend group. Partied a lot in college. We were good students. We were good kids, but we did party a lot. We go to bars, everything like that. And I remember for pre-games, I would throw on fights sometimes just in the background because I wanted to watch it and stuff like that.
Yeah. Americans love doing that. I've been to LA and been to a couple of people's places, and you go to like a little gathering, and they always put a fight on the background. It's like a tradition.
But that proves a point because none of my friends knew what was going on. None of my friends know what a 10-8 round was, or what a Kimura was, or what a TKO versus a KO was. They didn't know any of those things, but what they could relate to was the show. They could relate to the production. They could relate to a big, grandiose ring walk with fireworks and a ring announcer, and they could relate to all that. So the production is huge for attracting a new audience.
Yeah.
Whether or not you understand the intricacies of the sport, you'll get that in due time.
Well, they say boxing is the only sport in the world that's universally known. So you might not know the kind of specific rules, but you put on a football match,
right?
Let's say a woman in China might not know what's going on.
Yes.
But you put on a fight or a boxing match,
yep.
Everyone in the world will know, well, that guy is versus that guy.
Exactly.
And they've got to fight.
And the simplicity of it is what I love.
That's it, yeah.
That's what I love, because I played college football, and football is, American football, is a very complex sport with a lot of moving parts. And you have to get to a certain level of education even to appreciate it. You at least got to know what a touchdown is and a field goal is and stuff like that.
To enjoy it, yeah.
To be honest, with boxing, as long as you know that they're fighting and one guy's maybe trying to hurt the other guy, like, you're pretty much like 20% of the way there.
Exactly. Well, look at the fight of the year. I don't know if you saw the fight of the year that won it. It was the Irish guy, Colin and Wood. Lee Wood. Like, no one knows anything about these guys, but you watch this fight and you're just like blown away. Yep. The one fight of the year, because the one guy got knocked down and then the other guy got back up and knocked the other guy down. He went through the ropes. It was just crazy. And
that shows, because what you just said, I don't even know if you recognize it. You go, no one know who these guys were.
Yeah.
And that's the gap. That's the little bit of a gap that needs to be achieved. And this is where the WWE was great. This is where the UFC is great. And granted, those are different because it's one umbrella. In boxing, you have a ton of different promotions. So it is a little bit more complex. But it still does show the importance of marketing and storytelling and things like that.
That's great. So that's how you got into it, with all your buddies, and you were just watching the fights, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I got into I started watching fighting at a young age. Martial arts was actually my first sport, so I did have a foundational understanding going into it. But what I fell in love with was the energy. It was the entertainment value. It wasn't, don't get me wrong, I love a great technical fight, and I loved it as a kid, but that's not what got me going.
Yeah.
What got me going was, it's mano-a-mano. It's one-on-one, two sides of the arena. You have different countries represented. The energy is crazy. You have two guys going in there literally to kill each other. There's nothing else like it. The energy of a fight is untouchable.
Yeah, and do you think these YouTube fighters, these boxers, are going to add to that? And bring it to a younger demographic?
I do, but they have to be careful. And here's why I say this. I got asked this earlier in 2022 about Jake and Logan Paul, and I remember I talked about it. I think it's good what they're doing. I think it's really good, these YouTube stars trying to bring in new viewership in boxing. My only fear is it can't be overdone. It needs to remain, you need to kind of, get into the shallow waters first and just kind of just do it a little bit.
Yeah.
Once every couple months, keep the buzz high. Oh, when's KSI going to fight again? When's Jake going to fight again? Keep us sending them up. Maybe get him to fight a real boxer at some point.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't want it to become too much of a circus. And I'm afraid that's kind of the route that it's going, because you do have some YouTubers that are just training for 2 months.
Yeah.
Because like KSI and Jake, don't get it twisted. They are training.
Yeah.
And, like, they are dedicating themselves to being a boxer. And a lot of the YouTubers are. Most of them are just kind of entering a camp, doing it for fun, which is all fine. But that doesn't help the case of what a Jake was doing, of what a KSI was doing, in my opinion. No hate on them. Yeah. Make your money however you want. Do whatever you got to do. I just don't want that to become oversaturated.
Do you not think, like, where, you know, it's, okay, Netflix, Amazon have got great content, right? But mainstream TV, terrestrial, is definitely on the decline, right?
Yep.
For a number of reasons.
Yep.
If every time I go to my YouTube homepage, there's so much interesting content on there, right?
Yes.
I don't want to watch anything else now because it's just, the algorithm's so good.
Yes.
Yeah. And it knows what I want to watch and it's showing me. Now, intertwined with that content are personalities, right?
Yes.
You've got this YouTuber or this YouTuber. Soon I'm sure they won't be called YouTubers, right? Because it would be for whatever platform. But their personalities, whether it's trigonometry or Stephen Bartley you were talking to me about last week, or they're personalities that people are going to start to like and younger people are going to start to feel a kinship with.
100%.
Do you think there's a world where anyone who has a beef with another personality, they just say, right, let's go to this boxing promoter and let's sell some seats at the O2 and let's have a fight? Or do you think that's not realistic because they're just not trained enough?
I think that would be an interesting way to look at it, to where instead of, I think the way that you would have to approach it, because I do like the idea, because again, here's where I look at it. I go, if there's a way to attract a new audience, if I'm a content producer and I had the opportunity to piggyback off of someone that had his or her own following, and now I could get my content in front of people that may have not watched it before, I would be stupid not to try, in my opinion.
Same as podcasts.
That's just kind of how that should work. So I wonder if maybe the route would go is, you know, if you have a stable, I'll give a perfect example. There's actually a perfect example. Now, he wants to be known as a boxer, not a YouTuber, but Vidal Riley fights for a boxer, right?
Okay,
and Vidal Riley's is friends with KSI. He has his own media platform. He's got a huge presence on YouTube. He is a part of Boxer's promotion.
Right.
And he actually he'll co-stream his fights with Sky. He and Sky have a good relationship to where they'll actually allow him to have his fight be live on his own YouTube channel. Now, he's not a YouTuber that's boxing. He actually wants to be a boxer that happens to have a YouTube. So it's not a perfect comparison.
Right.
But that I think is kind of close to what we're talking about here, of saying, all right, well, maybe on every card, you know, maybe we do have a personality that comes in and fights on the undercard. I'd be fine with juicing the undercard with a YouTube celebrity to get some more interest in there.
Do you remember Elon Musk said he wanted to fight Putin?
That would be the biggest fight.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just
crazy.
like, imagine
if
Putin's
that fight happens, let me announce it. That's all I'm saying.
I think what you said is it kind of happened, but I think you're speaking like, it happens urgently. It kind of happened with Logan Paul and KSI. You know, they were YouTubers. Yeah. Someone said something in an interview, and Joe Weller, like what someone said something about them on YouTube, and that's how it progressed. Mm-hmm. But I think now there could be an urgency of someone just having a following going boom.
But I'm just saying, like, in 10 or 20 years, everyone, like, you know, what was in 2020, 81% of young people were on YouTube every day.
Yeah.
It's a huge percentage, right? So you're just thinking, we were talking about young people. It just makes sense to me that YouTube's actually not a social media platform, but as streaming service and personalities get bigger and bigger, just think 10 or 15 years from now, surely that's what people are going to want to watch, because it's about selling tickets on seats, bums on seats, right?
It might be a couple of years. I mean, I think it's going.
It might be a few years. Yeah. I just think, well, it's already been happening for a few years, and it's kind of slow. Like, I didn't even hear that KSI had a fight a few days ago. I don't know if you know he had another fight.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear about it built up anywhere, and I think I follow him, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, KSI's fighting tonight. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, if everybody's pushing for this person's arguing with this person, whether they're rappers or singers, there's such a huge number of people then that would get into the sport. Do you know what I mean? It would open up the floodgates to everybody, and there's a huge amount of money that can be made from it.
I think you kind of summed up my whole standpoint on why I treat my career the way I do and why I've kind of built it how I built it. And I've mentioned this before, but when you talk to most fight promoters, regardless of sport, and you ask them who your competition is, they always list off the other promotions. I disagree. I think that your competition for your show is any other form of content that could be consumed instead of your show.
Yeah.
So your competition, if we're Boxer, if we're Sky Sports, and we have a show on a Saturday night, our competition isn't just Matchroom or Top Rank or anything like that. It's also YouTube. It's TikTok. It's Netflix. It's them going to a concert.
It was a fight. I think you might have mentioned a fight. There was a fight. I think it was one of Eddie Hearn's card, and there was England playing the football at the same time. And
right.
They were like, we're going to stream the football during the it was just before the fight. So it's everything. You're right.
Exactly.
It's not just other boxing promoters.
For that reason, you have to have your show be engaging. You can't have your show be dry, or you're going to bleed viewers.
Yeah.
That's how I've approached this whole thing. Is I agree. Right now, it's tough to keep people's attention. It's harder than it's ever been in human history, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
There's TikTok, there's YouTube, there's Netflix, there's 80 different streaming services and 20 different cable packages and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So now the question becomes, okay, well, what can we do with our show, with our content, to engage the audience and to keep them on? Yeah. And the ring announcer plays a part in that.
Yeah.
So you're damn right I'm going to be as engaging
it's
as
one
I
of the
can.
biggest. I think it's one of the biggest things why you go to. Like I said, I remember going to Tyson Fury's last fight, and it was one of the biggest things. I mean, it was annoying turning up and all these people and all this kind of stuff. It was that side, but when I was there, it was like, right, this is the reason why it's better than on TV and it's at the live events.
I agree.
The music, the ring announcer, the show, and everything. I want to my opinion on what you said a minute ago about, and you talked about the separation between YouTube boxing. I think. I agree with what you both said, and to kind of summarize that point, I think it's good to keep it almost separated in a weird way, and KSI is kind of doing that, and Jake Paul's kind of not.
Yeah.
KSI is creating this misfits, section where a lot of the guys on there are new boxers or YouTubers and stuff like that. Jake Paul's trying to fight elite boxers.
Right.
I think it's good to keep it separated because it almost creates a different area of the genre of the sport. So you've got elite boxing, the same as you got elite football and championship football and all this kind of stuff, and the same with the WWE. So I think it's good to keep it separate because I think the problem that we'll face is as soon as, let's say, one of KSI's guys, or KSI, for example, or even Jake Paul goes in with a real boxer tomorrow and gets badly hurt. Yeah. They're not going to want to do it. It'll put off a lot of YouTubers. Yeah. Let's say he gets really, and it's very possible. I think KSI and Jake Paul are good, but you put him in with any pro boxer who's 4-0. Yeah. I just don't see. And that's why it's dangerous. And if one of them gets really hurt, all these other guys are not going to be still lining up, going, "Yeah, get me in a ring with a real boxer." They're going to go, "Whoa, wait, let's keep to our own YouTube, YouTube section." That's my only reservation and my only change recently. Right. And I agree with you. They do have to be separate because, like I said, Jake is these guys that are doing the YouTube and the Misfits, from what I gather, and again, I don't work for them or anything like that, so maybe I'm wrong, but they're not full-time boxers. They're not training to be a world champion. They're training for their fight. They do it. Maybe they chill for a while. Maybe they try to do another one down. But it's not the same thing. That's why I was kind of disappointed when Jake and Hasim Rahman didn't fight. Yeah. Because I actually thought Jake was in a win-win position. Because I thought Jake could go in there and he wins and he keeps the streak alive, keeps the buzz going. He's still undefeated, all that stuff, and he just beat a real boxer. If he lost and kept going, then I think that would allow him to even more solidify the fact, no, I am trying to be a real boxer. Yeah. I faced a real boxer. I lost. I'm back in the gym. I want another fight. I think that would have helped his case more. So I thought he was in a win-win. I was kind of surprised. He's the only one that would do that as well, I think. He would if he lost, he would keep going. I agree. Yeah. And I do think it's gonna build, in my opinion, to Jake and KSI fighting. It's gonna be a huge fight. I think Jake wins, truthfully. Yeah. But if that's the big fight that happens, then in my opinion, that doesn't help Jake. If Jake wants to be this boxer and he wants to fight these guys, then you gotta go fight him. You have to go fight him. Yeah.
I think there's so much money to be made.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. Just to go on what you said before about the sort of end game. I mean, there's something really cool about Saturday night TV, right? Yeah. And there's I think you might be too young, but in the UK there was this thing called TFI Friday. Do you remember it? Yeah. With Chris Evans. and you would stay in on a Friday night just to watch this. It was hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now some of it you wouldn't get away with now because the Saturday night TV show talk hosts are very PC. Do you know what I mean? They're very, and there's this thing that Jimmy Fallon does, and in America I don't know if they realise it, but in the UK, and it must be something to do with how you find comedy. He laughs at everything when it's not funny. Mm-hmm. Do you notice?
Yeah.
Do Americans notice that as well?
He's got to keep the laugh. He can't have there be a lull, in my opinion.
But it sounds so false.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like
I've not noticed that.
have you not? Have you really not noticed? It's like they say if you watch Friends and remove the laughter, because they fake the audience laughing.
It's just a completely
different show.
Well, that's why a laugh track exists. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
That's
interesting.
You want to help lead. You want to guide the audience a little bit, in my opinion, to get the reaction that you want. But so I love entertainment. Like whether it's fighting, whether it's movies, whether it's TV shows, whether it's talk shows, podcasts, I love entertainment.
Yeah.
Because I believe entertainment plays such a huge role in society.
Yeah, 100%.
I think we have so much bullshit in our lives that we have to deal with and think about, and all these problems.
Yeah.
I love that
it's the biggest escape for anyone. It's like that. Yeah.
It's a huge escape, and that's why. Excuse me. That's why it's disappointing that now entertainment. It's not just entertainment anymore. There's always something with it, which I'm fine with.
What, like an agenda?
An agenda, a certain message that needs to be conveyed, and I'm fine with that in times. But at some point, like, can I just turn on something that's just horrendously stupid and
100%.
has no effect on anything that's going around in the world, and I can just watch it and enjoy it? I miss that.
Same. They have such, all of them. I've actually been through the TV, the other Jimmy. I've looked at them, and they all have huge agendas, and they'll only push a certain thing. And the crazy thing is, when somebody comes on, did you see when Bill Maher came on onto?
Possibly.
He basically came on and said something about this Wuhan, and said, look, there's a. I'll let you watch it because it's actually incredible, very intelligent, very well done. And the talk show host just tried to cut him off the whole way.
Is it on Jimmy Fallon? No.
Was it? No, I can't remember his name. It's not.
There's dozens of shows.
Yeah, it's just but Big Mo's right. Mo's right. Like all of the talk show hosts in the US have a very specific agenda that they have to follow.
Yeah,
you can guess what it is, right? Yeah. So it's a very specific thing that they follow, and it's you're right. You just want to turn off. It's like when I used to watch Entourage. It's one of the only things
My favorite show in history.
Yeah, you just switch off, and then there's no agenda, and you can watch it. And there's a couple of other talk show hosts. There was TFI Friday. There was Chris Evans, and there was another guy. Do you remember there was a Scottish talk show host, and he used to have a mug, and he'd pick it up.
Ferguson?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
He did the Late Late Show.
Yeah. He was funny. He was. You can watch YouTube clips of Ferguson flirting.
Yes.
And he would do it in he was married.
Full on, yeah.
But he'd do it in a pretty cool way. And the person that he was flirting with would be laughing, and it wasn't an uncomfortable thing.
Yeah.
It was a very good marriage of two people flirting. And he was the last guy I would see that you'd put on, you'd stop doing, there was no agenda, he would just be really funny. And I think there's a huge need for that again.
I agree. I don't know. I miss just being, like I said, I miss being able to just throw something on and not having to sit there and go, okay, I wonder what the underlying theme is here. And I'm all for movies that have that. I'm all for TV shows that have that. Some of the best pieces of content I've ever watched had a message behind it or a meaning behind it. All I'm saying is I want there to be both.
Yeah.
And what I like about combat sports is when you get there, you're not sitting there thinking about some underlying message. You're just watching two people fighting.
Yeah.
It's barbaric. It is truly one of the simplest sports, really, when you break it down. And you're not sitting there going, oh, there is no talking. After my job, there's pretty much no talking. So, I don't know. I think, and that's, I think all of them kind of, a lot of forms of entertainment can tie together in the same way.
And if you were doing a Saturday night talk show, you'd have guests on. Would you have a specific, not an agenda, but what would you talk to the guests about? It's quite interesting because it's quite different to, speaking out and presenting and talking to boxers to talking to, comedians, actors. What would you...
Well, what's difficult is that there obviously is a place to discuss current events, because a big part of those types of talk shows is to get a guest that has some sort of celebrity component or a presence about them or a platform and getting their opinion on topics. So that's never going to go away, nor am I asking it to go away.
Yeah.
My only point is that I want to have it be more fun. Yeah. I think I've watched some clips from talk shows where it's like, Jesus, this is kind of depressing what we're talking about. Can we
Yeah.
get off of this topic?
Yeah.
Like, so I definitely would just want to keep it more upbeat, have them talk about their lives a little bit more, have them tell stories, things like that, opposed to, I don't always want their opinions on current events. If I wanted their opinions on current events, then go get them a guest spot on CNN or on NBC or whatever your news station is.
I think Jimmy Fallon, just got $80 million. I think he just got a contract renewal for like $80 million, I think.
Flipping out.
Like,
Nice.
do you think there's a way it can be done on a streaming on YouTube where it's a live Saturday night talk show?
I actually have that exact idea.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I'm not going to spill the details.
Oh, come on.
I do want to do it at one point, but I do think that there would be a place for that on the internet, on a streaming service or something. I don't believe that talk shows have to be relegated just to cable
James
television.
can set it up together. There we go.
Yeah, I tried it once. I think it was a bit early. Yeah, I tried it. I just thought like TFI Friday was, like I say, there's so many good memories watching that show.
Mm-hmm.
It was really funny. Like I remember the first ever episode, like Chris Evans it was at Riverside Studios in Bethnal Green in East London, and he was just sort of sitting there and it zoomed in on him. And he was just staring. It was Pamela Anderson. When it zoomed out, he was talking to Pamela Anderson. And
Right.
It was an innocent flirting that
Yeah.
because everything's so PC now.
This is not the show where the Australian like famous rock guy ended up flirting with the woman and ended up like.
Yes, they're both dead now.
Yeah.
It was called
Can't
In
remember what's
Bed with. It was INXS.
Yeah.
It was the singer of INXS, and the lady was called.
She was the presenter.
the blonde lady.
Yeah.
And it was a segment that they did on TFI Friday that was called In Bed with, and they'd get a guest in bed.
You should watch this, Mo. It's
And
very
in
weird.
excess-
Yeah.
Send me a
lead-
link. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
The
And they're
INXS
full on
lead singer,
flirting.
full on flirted, and they ended up getting married.
Oh,
And
wow.
Something actually, I shouldn't. Oh, I've got to say the ending. I think he killed himself, and then she did,
yeah.
or she died.
I think they both died of drug overdose or something. I
Oh, that's
probably
a-
got that so wrong.
Yes.
Anyway, had a bad.
Oh, that's a bad ending. All right, well.
But it was an incredible show, so I'd love to hear if you
Yeah.
get into that. That'd
Do
be
you
amazing.
understand? I mean, being American, do you? I don't want to say understand because that's
Yeah, it's a bit patronising.
Yeah, it's patronising. Okay, I'll say what from my point of view.
Just say it.
James will probably hopefully agree if you can help me out. We feel like the British and American sense of humor is very different.
I would agree.
And
And I love I mean,
for different reasons.
Yeah.
Some of our stuff is really dry that we feel like Americans don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I love American comedy as well. Sometimes some of it's really like perfect. Bill Burr's a great example. Like, brilliant. And then you put like Jimmy Carr
Jimmy
in
Carr's
in
one of my
it,
favorite,
but you
yep.
put him to an American audience, some of them don't understand it.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? And also, do you acknowledge that going into what you do? Because obviously, if you come out as a ring announcer, you're American and you've been brought up in a very different way and a different sense of humor, like you said earlier. British people, they love to go and get absolutely hammered and go crazy and throw shit and go mental, and there's just a different sensibility between the comedy side.
I think kind of what you just said was my biggest focus when I got this job. Is I was like, all right, well, what's the common denominator? What can I play to that's just the base level? And what I noticed about British fans was the energy in the environment. Right? You watch darts. How is that? Like, I'm gonna be honest, guys, for a second. Like, how do y'all watch that?
Yeah.
And it is the craziest environment I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah, because really it's so boring to watch in a way, but apparently going to a dart show is like the most.
Yeah, because you're in a pub
Amazing
when everyone's
life.
just
But
smashing
that
beer.
proves the point. I don't
Anything's
understand.
fun.
I don't understand the content. I don't get it. I don't think I'll ever get it. I have no interest in watching darts. But the common denominator is the energy. I'm like, I can associate with that though.
Yeah.
So whatever your level of association is kind of what you have to play off of.
Yeah.
I remember, so when I got the job, they said, hey, British people love American accents. They said it makes it feel more international. Blew my mind. I didn't know that. I would never think of my own accent being international. You would never think of your own accent being international.
Yeah.
So when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, well, I didn't expect that. I figured they'd want to hear a British announcer. So again, it's finding whatever that kind of common ground is and just playing off of that. So for me with British fans, it's drinking and having a good time. That's why part of my main event announcement is raise your drinks high, get wild, all that type of stuff. It's playing to that.
Get wild is your saying, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, I have
That's
a couple different
great.
ones.
What a great saying. Get
Yeah.
wild. Like I was thinking the other day, just randomly words, you know, just the word party, just that word, let's party. You and me, let's go party. Whatever, no matter what scenario, in what country you put those words in, it's the most enticing word you can hear. And it's like wild. Like, let's get wild.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's the opposite of what's going on in the world at the moment, where everything seems to be kind of controlled. Just to get wild. I love it. I think it's amazing.
No, I want fans to have a good time at these shows. Like I get a sense of euphoria, and I love watching people have a good time. Like, that's my thing.
Right.
Whenever I'm with my friends, I'm making sure they're having a good time. When I'm announcing fights, I'm making sure the crowd is having a good time. I talk to the crowd during shows, and I always go up to them, and I always ask them the same question: are you having a good time? Yes, I'm loving it. Then I'm playing my role in this. I want people to have a damn good time. People don't want to have good times anymore. It feels like people don't want to go out, or there's so much animosity. I'm like,
what is all this about? Why is this happening?
I have no idea, but I love just all your best memories. I'm assuming are a good time.
They are,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
Everyone's the same way with that.
100%.
It's great you're doing those two things as well. Like you're asking the crowd and stuff, and even what you touched about earlier about training your voice, you know, they're just things that other people are not doing. And I like the fact that you add in the kind of human, you know, aspect to it in terms of connecting with the crowd, and then also like almost a scientific aspect of your voice and training.
But
it's good.
The get wild, the party thing, I think is I think that's the key of the moment, and I'm feeling it at the moment that people aren't wanting to do that. And you can go to certain segments. I don't know if you've ever been out in Soho in London.
Yes, I love Soho.
Yeah, you just go out, people on the streets, everyone's laughing, dancing. You know, there are still these sort of like
there are
still places where comedy stores, other parts of London where you can go and everybody's up for having fun.
Yes.
And hopefully you're going to bring that back. And I think I would love to see you, like Mode 2.0, doing this talk show, because the good thing about a talk show is it's a live audience, right?
Yep.
So you're going to be bringing all the audience up.
Yeah.
So if you ever need any help with that, let me know.
I would love to. No, I'd love to. I'm definitely fortunate to do the job that I do, and it's crazy how this all came about.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is I always wanted to work in entertainment, and I thought for the longest time I was going to be an agent or a manager, because I got my master's in business. I've always had a good business mind. So I was like, all right, well, I'll work in entertainment, and I'll be able to just do the business side of it.
Was that in Denver you got the master?
Greeley, northern Colorado.
Okay.
Colorado. But I was like, all right, well, but then I'll never forget, you know, I met a guy who said, you know, he was talking to one of my friends who didn't want to pursue entertainment. He just didn't think it was right for him, or, you know, his parents were going to judge him or whatever. And the guy goes, well, someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
And then that completely shifted my whole mindset of going, you know what? I was a great public speaker at the time. Objectively, I was a very, very strong public speaker. And I was hosting shows and hosting events. And then one of my friends said, hey, have you ever tried commentary? Play-by-play. That's a common transition after you're done playing the sport. I was tired of football and basketball. I liked combat sports. Connected with a local show. Went from commentator to be the ring announcer. And so my whole plan was just, this was kind of my entryway into entertainment. I could have gone the traditional route of move to LA, sleep on couches, you know, wait tables on the side, waiting for my big break, or I can go somewhere where I actually think I'm a pretty good fit for the job, build it up there, generate enough buzz there, and maybe that opens up other opportunities. And it has. I've gotten to be on TV shows. I've gotten to host other types of events. I've gotten to get into the fashion industry and all that types of things. It's been a ripple effect. But it's because I've never just looked at it just being a ring announcer. I've never just looked at it as being one thing. I've tried to tie as many different things together.
You're branding it out.
Exactly correct.
Would you move here? Because you spend a lot of time here.
I'm open to it.
Okay.
And you know, I don't know. For the most part, I love living in America, and I do have things that I do in America. I love it here.
Yeah.
I have no problem traveling. You know,
because every time we've been messaging, it's like, God, you're back again. It's like you're like, I'm going to America, but I'm back in 2 weeks. I'm like, man, the jet lag itself must be going crazy.
I don't have a body clock anymore. The concept of body clock is over.
Gone,
but
you're like time traveling essentially.
Yeah, but when you get to do the job that I do,
Yeah.
and I get to in a few days be in front of 20,000 people at Manchester.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that wakes you up.
And the experience,
the biosynchronous clock is 48 hours anyway. Well, you know, it's not 24, it's 48 hours. So the natural human biosynchronous clock would be to sleep for 16 hours and be awake for 32. That's our natural autonomy. So just, all right.
Way off on that. I'm not even close to 16 hours.
I want to ask a couple of questions about
Yeah,
the fights that you've actually commentated. So we had Eddie Hall on, who's fucking amazing.
Love Eddie.
Yeah, amazing dude, man. And so you commentated his fight with Thor. How was that?
That was one of a kind experience.
It sounded like a shit show in terms of.
It was a shit show, but it was a shit show for reasons that really weren't even the promotion in and of a sense. Because again, I work with the promoter. That's who I work with, and even then, I'm very independent in what I do. And the fight had been pushed off, and location changes, and COVID, and all that stuff. And then it finally happens, and I get the job. I'm fortunate to go out there, and it blows up all over social media. Eddie and Thor get into it in a press conference, which was all real, by the way. Like the rivalry between Eddie and Thor is 100% legit. Like people were like, "Oh, it's scripted. They're trying to sell the fight."
It was very real.
Very real. I got there early to the press conference, and it was me, the promoter, Eddie's son, and Eddie. And you could tell Eddie didn't want to even look at Thor. He didn't want Thor to, it was very real.
He really wanted to fight him on the street,
And that blew up, and I thought that fight was really fun. I had a great time. I loved that fight.
Yeah.
I would love to see Eddie and Thor box again, whether it's each other or someone else. Fight did well. That's actually where Boxer and Sky first saw me.
Right.
My first ever message with Boxer was while I was in Dubai. They reached out. And took a couple months to kind of manifest. But
very quickly, how did that happen? Was it just you dropping them a message, or what?
So they messaged me. Okay. I think just kind of a general feeler message. Then a few months passed, and they said they wanted to bring me out for a test run in Bournemouth because they didn't know how I was going to do or how I was going to go and stuff like that. And
interesting.
Made me take the sunglasses off, and off and away we were. So.
Man, you got to take that in for a moment. We'll carry on what James was talking about. What's your best, announcement? But you're 27, and you're announcing on Sky. I mean, Sky Sports here is it's the biggest thing. Yeah. Not just boxing, football, golf, everything. Like that's like well done, man. That's a really good achievement.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're young and you're announcing like on Sky Sports.
I've always enjoyed being young. I alongside my best friend Keenan in the States, we were the first and the youngest MBAs in the history of my school. I was always young. I was raised by a single father, and I went with him everywhere he did. And I would sit in, board meetings that he would do, and HOA meetings he would go to, and I was always the youngest. And I just always did well. Kind of just always being young.
I've strived off that. Whenever I've got into a meeting where someone's like, "Oh, you're too young," it's like, "Well, that's exactly why you should be."
Yeah, and so when when I started announcing, I charted everything out. I built an entire database of ring announcers so I could get a glimpse of the industry because there was no information on it. You can't Google how to be a ring announcer. There's no textbook. You kind of just got to figure it out and build your own brand and see if any shit sticks, right? So I built this entire database, and I was mapping everything out, and I was able to see who they announced for, and then I was like trying to find glaring holes, and I was like, all right, where can I fit into these holes to quickly build a brand? Because I started out and I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to be the next guy. I'm going to do it how I want to do it. I don't want to wait for opportunities. I'm ready to go now. I'm comfortable doing what I'm doing now. Let's roll. And the biggest discrepancy I saw was age. The average ring announcer is around 55 years old. Yeah. I started when I was 23. I announced Shields Marshall when I was 26 still. And I was perfectly
biggest
calm.
female fight. Yeah, we were there. Yeah, biggest female fight ever.
I felt totally comfortable. And I can tell you by far the reason why I was so comfortable with it, one was I was obviously confident in my abilities, but affirmation and visualization is a huge part of it. When I was announcing shows on the local side at a bar in front of 150 people, I never imagined that I was there. I imagined that I was at Madison Square Garden, that I was on this bigger stage, and I would announce it like it. And I had promoters that told me to stop. I had promoters that go, "Hey, you're way over the top. I don't know what you think this is, blah, 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 blah." And I said, well, I'm going to do this how I want to do it. So take it or leave it.
So just, a little bit of personal thing on that then. Where did that come from? Like you just mentioned that you were raised by a single father. Because I'm looking at it going, right, you've analyzed the business, you've analytically gone, okay, what's this ring announcer doing? You know, scientifically in terms of the way you've learned how to develop yourself. Still young, you know. If you said, "Oh, I'm 35," or I would say, "Okay, you've lived a little bit." Where I've got to sort of ask: is there something that comes from your childhood, or the way that you were raised with your dad, or something that gets you to that moment where you wanted it and you knew how to kind of get it in terms of like looking at it? Right, I'm going to look at the ring announcers, the scientific side.
That is a really great question. I have a mentor who gave me a quote once, and I don't know if he made it up himself or if he stole it, but you got to figure out how to apply your past to your future. And I grew up very academic. My dad raised me insanely academic. I was a much better student than I was an athlete. I just happened to be a big guy, and so I had a decent athletic career. I was a way better student, and I enjoyed school more. I was always a thinker and analytical, and I loved math and stuff like that. So I was able to apply that concept to kind of building everything. I've taken the same approach, right? With the entertainment, I actually don't know where that came from. I think I grew up pretty socially awkward, to be honest. I was very behind the ball socially, and so I wonder if subconsciously, you know, my willingness to do entertainment stemmed from the fact that I was never afraid to be who I was, or maybe I was afraid to be who I was at a young age, and then maybe that just kind of exploded once I figured out how to be extroverted and figured it all out.
We can relate that with the acting, because I think you go two ways, right? If you're socially awkward when you're younger, you either stay that way, or you go the complete opposite. Yeah. And it's the same with the acting. You either you know, if you're shy. I mean, I consider myself quite shy. No one will ever say I'm shy, but when you're exactly, so you laugh at that. But if you're shy, you know, Robert De Niro is famously like so shy.
Right.
You don't see Robert De Niro doing many interviews. He hates doing interviews.
Yeah.
He's naturally a shy person, but he's one of the best actors in the world and being able to stand in front of the camera. And it sounds like you tapped into that where you went, right, I'm not gonna,
I think so.
I'm not gonna just keep being socially, you know, awkward. I'm gonna change it and put it into.
And what I've noticed too is the amount of how extroverted I am has kind of decreased over time as I've done this job, because this job is so extroverted. Yeah. It's this, you know, it's this big deal, and so now I'm almost like more introverted. Like I loved going out and always kind of being the life of the party in college and things like that. But now as I've kind of gotten older, I'm like, I kind of just keep to myself a little bit, because for a couple days out of the month, I have to just be on it. I have to just be this personality and be this type of thing.
You're exploding in that moment.
Yes.
And then
it's the psychology behind it all is pretty interesting.
You're kind of challenging your fear. If you were sort of slightly socially awkward when you were younger,
that's it.
I mean, the last thing that you would do, right, is, and I'm a big proponent of that. Like, if I'm not that great at something, I go deep into it, and I think that's the best way to sort of challenge your fears.
Yeah, I think I figure out who you are, and you know, figure out ways to leverage what you want to do and tie your personality into it. And
but how does that link? You said like your mentor said something about, you know, use your past, but your past is very academic.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, entertainment it's not, right? No. So you've gone a completely different route, really. Yeah. But do you mean by saying that later on in life you'll come back to the academic stuff, or no?
Well, no, I applied the academic. I applied it in what I do from a research standpoint.
Okay.
You know, a big thing of what I did as a ring announcer to build what I was doing was figuring out what everyone else was doing.
Right.
So the amount of primary research is what's called when you conduct the research yourself. Yeah. The primary research is what helped get me there.
Yeah.
I was able to just dive in, and I had to go through magazine articles and old tapes and interviews and figure it out and put it all together and figure out and go, all right, here's the entire landscape of ring announcers, right? Because it is small enough to where one person can do that amount of research.
Yeah.
And I was able to go, all right, I like this. I like this component. Okay, maybe this is lacking. Maybe I can twist that a little bit. Yeah. And I was able to kind of build an entire game plan on how to do that.
Yeah.
That's how I was able to kind of approach the academic side of it, if that makes sense.
That makes complete sense. Well, mate, I think you're an incredible example of someone who sets their mind to something, analyzes it, sticks to it, makes that their number one thing, and makes a huge success of it.
That's life.
Yeah,
at least in my opinion, that's what life is.
Well, you're a good example of that, mate.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, if I can prove anything to anyone, is no matter how crazy your goal or dream is, and I'm still figuring it out, the worst you can do is try and it doesn't work.
Run with it.
All right,
Yeah.
Like I'll never forget, like someone, like a lot of my professors, you know, because I do some entrepreneur stuff. I help start a company in America and things like that. And I approach this entertainment career. I had a lot of professors that go, "Why are you doing that? It's such a gamble." I'm like, my whole life's a gamble. I work in startup business and I announce fights for a damn living. Like, welcome. I'm glad we've crossed that threshold that what I do is a little bit out there, but I love it. And I think that's how you build a unique life for yourself. And I want to live a unique life. I don't want to be average. I don't want to just have a cookie cutter lifestyle. I want to do unique stuff. I want to see the world. I want to meet unique people that I previously would have had no connection with, like you two gentlemen, and just live life.
That's great. That's so great. What do you love about the UK? What's like some of your? I kind of want to ask what you hate about the UK, but maybe you shouldn't say that. But what's some of the things which I suppose you like about the UK? Probably very different from America, which you're just like, oh, that's what I love.
I mean, I think the people are a lot of fun. I think British people enjoy having a good time. I think there's a lot of camaraderie. I think that connection to sports and entertainment is huge here, which is obviously what I enjoy. I think that the hospitality here is really strong. I don't think anyone, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's always bad apples in every group of people, but from the people that I've met with, they've been very welcoming to me, even though they didn't have to be. You know, I'm the foreigner in a lot of respects, and I get treated with respect here and things like that, and I appreciate it. And I don't know, it's just good vibes here, I guess, for lack of a better word.
You'd enjoy it. We'll have to take him out down Soho.
100%.
You'd love it.
Yeah.
James loves Soho as well.
Yeah.
Bit of Soho.
Got to meet me a nice British girl or something.
Are you single?
Yes. Yeah.
British girl.
Let's go out.
You won't be single in about 5 hours. So just, I think, end it. We can end it on just so you're announcing Chris Eubank.
Chris Eubank Jr., Liam Smith.
That's
This Saturday, January 21st.
yeah.
AO Arena Manchester, pay-per-view, SkySports showcase.
Can we ask what you
SkySports
think in
box
terms
office.
of who's going to win?
I think this is a true 50-50 fight.
Really?
I
Okay.
really do.
Yeah.
I think most people would agree that Eubank Smith, from a physical standpoint, is probably
Edges it.
edges it. Athlete, strength, power. I think in terms of being a technical boxer, Liam Smith edges it. But I think this is if you want a 50-50 fight, for all you guys that may complain about one-sided fights or feeding someone to the up-and-coming contender, this is a 50-50 fight. Right. And I think that Liam Smith, this is the best prep I think he's done. I was able to meet Liam early on in my career and announce one of his fights. Great dude, by the way. Love Liam. I've met Chris, nice guy, just haven't had as much interaction with him. But I think Liam Smith is ready. I think he wants to be back, competing for titles again. He lost to Canelo, but it's Canelo, and I think Liam Smith wants to be back on that stage, wants to put more gold around his waist, and Chris is obviously in the same boat. So when you have that, it's going to be a cracking
Final
fight,
question, which I don't think anyone's asked you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be confident and say that. Would you ever fight? Have a box?
I've thought about it. I had some injuries playing football, and timing. I don't exactly have a whole lot of time right now, but who knows? Maybe
you're stupidly young.
Maybe I can be a bridge between the YouTube boxing and the real boxing, because I'm neither. And I can have just some fun with it.
I can kind of see it happening. You remember that Mike Tyson moment? Was it Mike Tyson? It was Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather, where the ring announcer was talking to him, and then they had a massive argument. He said, I would kick your ass 50 years ago. I can kind of vision something happening where, like we were talking about the TV show or something, someone says something to you, you break out a character, and then
take off the suit.
Take off a suit, and you're massive, like people see you, and you can box and everything. Yeah. Oh man, that's it. I mean, that's great.
I really appreciate you guys having me.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, man. Really great to talk to you, man. Thanks a lot.
BigMo.
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.